Rowley of Landate, Rowley of Renaissance, Rowley of Greenvale, Rowley of Calder Heart, Rowley of Inquiry, Rowley of Email Gate, Rowley of Bridgman's, Rowley of HDC, Rowley of Delsey Gate, Rowley of Paria, Rowley of Innis Gates, Rowley of Aripo Farms, Rowley of No Integrity B Form. Rowley says he defends Foster. Foster, it has special branch looking at Foster. It have FIU giving report on Foster. It have Anti-Corruption Bureau looking at Foster. It have Constable looking at Foster. Rowley say, I love my Foster. I'm going to foster a better relationship between himself, Bundles, and me. That's what Rowley says. Now Foster's talking quite a lot, but saying nothing except sinking himself deeper into the bucket by Golden Grove. Foster says and tries to discern and differentiate between being an MP and a cabinet minister and a government senator. Well, Foster, you dunce, once you are a senator, you are a politically exposed person. So there is no difference between being a senator in the government or a minister in the cabinet. You have to fill out, and the same laws, rules apply to you regardless. So trying to differentiate, you are differentiating in your simple mind. There's no difference in the law. Even as an opposition senator who has no control over 1 cent of taxpayer dollars or any decision of anything, I am a politically exposed person, and therefore all the laws and so on, and all the declaration forms, and all the source of funds, and all the questions asked by the bank must be filled out. Now Foster said that this was some loan he got, and it's a credit union, and the credit union gives loans to individual and so on. Foster, I've gone through, I actually show them how I went through. I ain't gonna bore them with all my notes, right? But all of this research and comparison to what Foster is saying, all right, I'm going to summarize these in some questions for you, Foster. Okay, Foster? Here are some questions for Fuzzy Foster. Are you aware that being appointed a government senator is being involved in active politics? Are you aware of that? On being appointed to the Senate, are you aware that you became a politically exposed person, and therefore all the rules and laws applying to politically exposed persons applied to you when you swore in to be a senator in the PNM government? If, as stated in the Express on Monday, 23rd May 2022, Foster, that you ceased being a businessman on becoming an MP and a minister, why are you personally involved in business payments, business loans in January 2021? When you are a government senator since 18, and you are an MP and a minister since 2020. August, September. How come on January 12, 2021, you are still involved if you won't involve? Foster, if it was a loan, Foster, if it was a loan repayment by the company that you are no longer affiliated with to the Venture Credit Union, why would the funds move from the Venture Credit Union account into your personal account? Okay, Foster, we following your story, you know. I'm following you. You said it was a loan repayment. MTS, for example, in the $1.8 million payment, made the check out to Venture Credit Union. You are saying that you had taken a loan from Venture Credit Union because they don't give business loan, they give you the personal loan. Okay. So if the payment was made to Venture Credit Union, why did Venture Credit Union take the money out of their account and put it in yours? And Fossey Foster, I ain't done there yet, Fossey Foster. Are you aware that for the FIU to action an investigation by the ACIB, the Anti-Corruption Bureau, or the police, an SAR, a suspicious activity report, would have had to be made by the financial institution to the FIU? Are you aware of that, Foster? In order for the police, the FIU, to get anything about anybody, to know anything, an SAR, a suspicious activity report, would have to be filled out by the financial institution, as is their duty under the law, and it would then be forwarded to the FIU, who would then forward it to other units of the police to investigate. Are you aware of that? Do you know what a suspicious activity form a report is, Foster? Well, here's the problem with you now, Foster. Foster, if it was a loan from Venture Credit Union that you were just paying back and everything was above board, and Venture Credit Union was the one who loaned you the money, Foster, hear me? Why would Venture Credit Union fill out a suspicious activity report for something that was legal, legitimate, and normal? Call the therapist, Foster. See a problem, Foster? Because all of this police activity would have been generated by an SAR, a suspicious activity report, which would have been sent by the financial institution, in this case, Venture Credit Union. And if, as you say, everything was normal and it's mischief and it was just a loan and you're paying back, Venture Credit Union would find it suspicious that you are paying back a loan that they gave you? Oh, Foster. I'm not done with you yet, Foster. If this were a legitimate loan, as you say, why would the financial institution, on receiving legitimate repayments, create an SAR and send to the FIU? Also, are you aware that as a politically exposed person, especially a member of parliament and a full-time minister, that any money other than your government salary finding its way into your account will raise questions, Foster? Are you aware of that? As a government minister, you can't have money going from X, Y, and Z into your account. The only money that's supposed to be going in there is money from your job, your legitimate salary and perks. End of story, Foster. Or else it will generate questions. 1.4 million and 4.4 million and coming from all directions, Foster, when you're not in business, Foster. What about commingling of funds? Did you declare these loans on your integrity forms 2019, 2020, 2021, Foster, while you were a senator, an MP, and a minister? Furthermore, Foster, what was the size of this loan that required all these millions and millions of payment? How did you qualify personally, Foster, for such huge loans on a senator's salary? Senator salary with perks and so on, Foster, if you're on joint select committees and so on, may amount, if you're on 3-4 joint select committees, may amount to 20,000 before tax. How on a salary of that, since you're not a businessman, Foster, were you able to attract loans in the millions? How you going? Venture Credit Union, don't worry, I'm coming to ask you some questions because the math's not mathsing. Are you aware of the following term, Fuzzy Foster? Tax evasion. Are you aware of that? If money owed to a company, Foster, is paid to someone else, how is this accounted for by the company for tax purposes? So, you have a contract, Rivulet have a contract, they tell MTS, no, don't pay Rivulet, pay Venture Credit Union. Oh, so how does Rivulet account for money that it never received in its account, or when it's coming to audit or going to pay taxes? Do you know what tax evasion is, Fuzzy Foster? You're not too bright, you know, Fuzzy Foster. Continuing, are you aware that facilitating tax evasion is a criminal offense, Fuzzy Foster? So if the money went to venture and end up in your personal account without whatever reason you trying to say and justify, If it was payments that were due and never went in the accounts of the companies who did the work contractually, then there could be a case of tax evasion. Do you know that if that money ended up in your account and it was not accounted for by the company to pay tax on it, 30%, that you could be found guilty of aiding and abetting circumventing taxes? Serious charges for the Foster. SARs involve illegal proceeds of crime, i.e. drug trafficking money and money laundering. On hearing that the police were investigating you on these matters, from the FIU to the ACIB to the police and so on, did you seek psychological counseling? Did you get nervous? Were you frightened? Because Special Branch was investigating something about land in Couva, and then FIU and Anti-Corruption Bureau and thing, all them police wrong you. You didn't need a psychologist. It's only Jayanti. When Jayanti read out thing, you needed a psychologist for the Foster. Finally, Foster. Most importantly, are you insane, Foster? Serious question. Because you can't think that what you're saying makes sense. Are you insane? Do you have a paper?